now that we have that completed, next thing I can do is move on to the verses. But before that, I'm gonna probably edit this hook real quick. Add a marker.
En mi flowbox, puede que me role uno, puede que me role dos. En mi flowbox, donde elaboramos sean joints, sean blunts. En mi flowbox, me siento en confianza tirando el roll con flow. En mi flowbox, tengo el producto, pump y paso pa' la bomb. Toda mi banda marihuana. Flowbox, Pincho Frankie Flowers, Molemusik Chai, Molemusik, es el bulldog cabrón, dice. Más que herramienta es una. En mi flowbox, puede que me role uno, puede que me role dos. En mi flowbox, donde elaboramos sean joints, sean blunts. En mi flowbox, me siento en confianza tirando el roll con flow. En mi flowbox, tengo el producto, pump y paso pa' la bomb. En flowbox ahora rolo el protocolo, el roll con verde no hablo con campicoro, no. En Lolo con el Lolo, melodías Apolo, la O, desarrollo, just catching la semilla, grande la de hermano, se me olvida. A bajadas, a subidas, así las arriba, de lo contrario indica, a ver si no se me olvida. Tuve problemas sobre el role de la ganja. Slow, vino de los slow. En mi flowbox, puede que me role uno, puede que me role dos. En mi flowbox, donde elaboramos sean joints, sean blunts. En mi flowbox, me siento en confianza tirando el roll con flow. En mi flowbox, tengo el producto, pump y paso pa' la bomb. De los slow. En mi flowbox, puede que me role uno, puede que me role dos. En mi flowbox, donde elaboramos sean joints, sean blunts. En mi flowbox, me siento en confianza tirando el roll con flow. En mi flowbox, tengo el producto, pump y paso pa' la bomb. Toda mi banda marihuana.
Nice now.
Flowbox, Pincho Frankie Flowers. En mi flowbox,
I believe there's 3 hooks on here, but the artist. Wait. Yes, there's 3 hooks in here.
Como el ritmo era extraída del pino de los slow. En mi flowbox, puede que me role uno, puede que me role dos. En mi flowbox, donde elaboramos sean joints, sean blunts. En mi flowbox, me siento en confianza tirando el roll con flow. En mi flowbox, tengo el producto, pump y paso pa' la bomb. Toda mi banda marihuana. Flowbox, Pincho Frankie Flowers, Molemusik Chai, Molemusik, es el bulldog cabrón, dice.
We're gonna add the microphone. We're gonna add the other third hook. We're just gonna find out the location of this. Okay, I just figured out why we didn't put a third hook on there. It was because the artist decided to do an outro to the placement of the third hook, so there's no third hook.
La Flowbox se contenta, si es que tú tienes ya los ojos de oriental. El roll con flow. En mi flowbox, tengo el producto, pump y paso pa' la bomb. En flowbox ahora rolo el proto. Tengo el producto donde elaboramos sean joints, sean blunts. En mi flowbox, me siento en confianza tirando el roll con flow. En mi flowbox, tengo el producto, pump y paso pa' la bomb. En flowbox ahora rolo el protocolo, el roll con verde no hablo con campicoro, no. En Lolo con el Lolo, melodías Apolo, la O, desarrollo, just
So now we're gonna work on the verse. Number 1.
En mi flow paso pa' la bomba. En flow boxer I roll el protocolo. El ron con verde no hablo Gohan Picoro, no. En Lolo con el YOLO. En flow boxer I roll el protocolo. El ron con verde no hablo Gohan Picoro, no. En Lolo con el YOLO. Melodías a pueblo la O desarrollo. Cachi la semilla, grande la de hermano, se me olvida. A bajadas, a subidas, así las arriba. De lo contrario indica, a ver si no se me olvida. Tuve problemas sobre el role de la ganja. Es un problema que sé que muchos se lo callan. Pero todo el viento hojas se llevaba. Y el pinche Frankie con carta abajo de la manga. Flowbox mi amigo, forjando pergamino, rolando con estilo. En Flowbox ahora rolo el protocolo. El ron con verde no hablo Gohan Picoro, no. En Lolo con el YOLO, melodías en Flowbox ahora rolo el protocolo. El ron con verde no hablo.
Oh, mira. Oh, no está en este teléfono, pero ahorita te la enseño, hijo. La de el house bélico que hice el otro día, el beat. Ya lo terminé y empezamos a grabarlo. El artista vino a grabar el coro y el primer verso. Quedó chido. Sí, ahorita te lo enseño ahorita. Lo tengo en este teléfono. Quedó chido.
Cachi la semilla, grande la de hermano. Cachi la semilla. Melodías a pueblo la O desarrollo. Cachi la semilla. Melodías a pueblo la O desarrollo. Cachi la semilla, grande la de hermano, se me olvida. Cachi, desarrollo. Cachi la semilla, cachi la semilla, cachi la semilla, grande. Grande la de hermano, grande la de hermano, se me olvida. Vida, pa' bajadas, vida, pa' bajadas hay subidas, así las activa. De lo contrario indica vida, pa' bajadas hay subidas, así las activa. De lo contrario. Ve problemas sobre el, ve problemas sobre el role, ve problemas sobre, ve problemas sobre el role de la ganja, ve problemas. Ve problemas, tuve problemas, tuve problemas. Tuve problemas problemas sobre el role de la ganja. Tuve problemas sobre el role de la ganja. Es un problema que sé que muchos se lo callan. En el otoño el viento hojas se llevaba. Y el pinche Frankie con carta abajo de la manga. Flowbox mi amigo, forjando de la ganja. Es un problema que sé que muchos se lo callan. Pino de los islos, soy el creador mismo, madera extraída del pino de los islos. Soy el creador mismo. Soy yo. Soy, soy, soy el, soy, soy, soy el creador mismo. Soy el creador mismo, madera extraída. Soy el creador mismo. Soy el creador mismo. Soy el creador mismo, madera extraída de. Soy el creador mismo, madera extraída de. Soy el creador mismo, madera extraída de. En mi flowbox, en mi flowbox. En mi flowbox, en mi flowbox. Puede que me role uno, puede que me role dos. En mi flowbox, donde elaboramos en en mi flowbox.
So yeah. So I don't know if I mentioned this, but these are not distorted as they look like they are, but they're just. I zoomed into the little magnification here, the little zoom into it here for the recordings, or I think it does it for media as well. But I zoom in on purpose so I can see where the detail work is at. So for the so whatever was touching, I did lower it down in order for me to know that it was a little too loud. But I these are not distorted. When they're distort, you see the little cut in here. Say this little peak is here, and when they're distorted, it only reads certain information. It distorts from here, from this peak here and up. So you'll see a flat cut, straight flat cut. It doesn't have character, peak, or up and down. That's how you know a clip is distorted. A vocal recording or something, when it's cut like that. You zoom out and you make it small, and then there's no peaks and stuff. It's just a full cut. That means it reached to its potential, and it got cut because it got distorted. Well, it distorts because it got cut. It's going up too loud, so it starts distorting, and then you can see the flat line. So that's how you know they're distorted. None of these are distorted. These are all, they were very well recorded at a good volume. So it's just another trick that I have in order for me to know that there's peaks that are too high, and I'm also helping the de-esser a lot, the processing, in order for it to smooth out and equally lower down the volumes of each peak, or depending on what setting that I use for the limiter de-esser. But yeah, that's what I was doing. That's all I was doing. None of these. I just wanted to make that clear. None of these were distorted. That's how you can tell when they're distorted. You have a flat line across.
En mi flow box, en mi flow, en mi flow box, en mi flow. Soy el creador mismo, madera extraída del pino de los cislos. En mi flow box, en mi flow, los cislos. En mi flow box, yo soy el creador mismo, madera extraída del pino de los cislos. En mi flow box, yo soy el creador mismo, madera extraída rota. Tuve problemas sobre el role de la ganja. Es un problema que sé que muchos se lo callan. Pero otoño el viento hojas se llevaba. Y el pinche Frankie con carta abajo de la manga. Flowbox mi amigo, forjando pergaminos, rolando con estilo. Yo soy el creador mismo, madera extraída del pino de los cislos. En mi Flowbox, en mi Flowbox, estilo. Yo estilo.
And then all the other audios out here on the bottom, all the seconds and the ad libs, I lowered them down low enough where I can still hear them, but not high enough where they can shine up, or maybe a loud part of these will overcome one of these loud parts, or whatever part. So I intentionally, purposely lowered it down, and I was working on the hook first, and then I worked on the verses. So I had lowered these down before, in order for me to hear this information come out and not get tricked by it, and still be able to hear it, still be able to hear a little bit of the back vocal or the second ad lib or whatever the artist recorded, but won't overcome, since I'm working on these. And then I won't be tricked on maybe a little loud part of this peeking over this loud part, and maybe I'm thinking it's this part and I'm lowering it down when in reality is this part over here, this ad lib. You know what I mean? So I did that. I lowered this down on purposely, so I can read the information up here in detail, and do my decision on the volume wise, and on the clips and breaths and breaths and stuff like that. So that's just another tool, another way that I work more efficiently. I work faster like that. I tend to make that a habit, and add it to my workflow. But it's just little tricks and nicks of the game where you adapt to them, and you use them on your daily basis. And if it works for you, awesome. And if it doesn't, well, you always find different ways to navigate and amplify your workflow. And that's your bottom that's your main bottom game. That should be your main focus. You always want to rock bottom and be as efficient as you can, and be able to be creative as you can during your workflow. You don't want to make it boring. You don't want to make it I have to do this, I have to do. You want to make it exciting. You want to get stuck. I mean, you see me have no face expressions, or I'm just stuck on this because I'm very concentrated. But you have to love it. You have to like doing this. It's not for everybody, but it's a well paid trade, man. If you perfect it. That I got disconnected. We're gonna get disconnected.
En mi Flowbox, puede que me role uno, puede que me role dos. En mi Flowbox, en mi Flowbox, donde elaboramos sean joints, sean blunts. En mi Flowbox, en mi Flowbox, me siento en confianza tirando el roll con flow. En mi Flowbox, tengo el producto, pump y paso pa' la bomba. En Flowbox era el rolo, el protocolo, el ron con verde, no hablo cojan
I
picoro.
like how that sounds. It sounds
En mi Flowbox
clean.
puede que me role uno, puede
There's
que me
nothing,
role dos.
well,
En mi
just a little vocal chain, but I haven't.
Flowbox, donde elaboramos, sean joints, sean
Where's
blunts.
it at?
En mi
I haven't
Flowbox,
edited anything.
Flowbox, me
Just
siento
a
en
little bit of saturation
confianza
here.
tirando el rock
Oh,
and
I
flow.
had. I don't know why that's not there, but
Tengo el producto, pump y paso pa' la
just very subtle stuff. Compressing, I got it compressing very little, man. Very little. Not even a dB. It starts from the 1 dB to 2 or 3, but it's very subtle. Another thing too, the glue compressor is pretty good. I like the way this glue compressor sounds. Cytomic. This is a very old school compressor, so it mimics that. Which, by the way, very good job, Ableton. They did a very good job on that. I did some reviews on the. I watched some videos and watched some reviews on the other compressor, and it was pretty good. Good stuff. I also liked using the de-esser from Fab Lab. Incredible. I love it. Someone asked me not too long ago what was the difference between the what was that? Let me think. Oh, chorus and the reverb. Big difference. So even though sometimes you can get some type of the same modulation that you can do on the reverb, they're completely different effects. You can the good thing about these the nice thing about echo is that you can EQ the echo. And as well, you can add reverb to it. And I think, if anything, you should be putting echoes, not much of a reverb processing, unless these stock reverbs and stock echo. I mean, I use stock plugins all the time. I hardly use any stuff that, I mean, for VSTs, I use third parties, obviously. But even the VSTs here in the Dawn that come with it, I mean, they're amazing. They get the job done. Then they sound pretty good. I mean, it's not gonna sound like it came out of a toy or something. But I like the stock plugin. I use stock plugins all the time. Native plugins from the Dons. This one's Ableton 10, obviously, but I don't know. I got really good at it, and I like the way they sound. I made a lot of hits using stock plugins. I hardly use EQs or compressors from anywhere else. I mean, maybe a tape delay. Sometimes I'll use a compressor from what is it called? UAD. I'll use different compressors from other third parties, but slightly on very, very, very on very specific projects. You know, if I wanted to get a certain sound, a certain color towards the vocals, and then, I'll go for those. But for the majority, I mean, I can get the job done with any of these stock plugins. I mean, it's not. And listen, I'm not bashing on these guys wasting thousands of dollars in third-party plugins and VSTs, but I mean, if you feel like if you feel that investment gets the job done, by all means, you know what I'm saying? It's at the end of the day, it's how you work and what you use it with and how you use it. You know what I mean? It's not about having the stuff. It's knowing what you know how to knowing how to use what you got. You know what I mean? So if you perfect your craft, and you find yourself in need that you need something like that, shit, go for it. I mean, I I didn't get new laptops or new computer till I started way after I got, the demand. I couldn't catch up no more. But I was using a laptop that was outdated. I was using a MacBook that was out of date. As a matter of fact, my transition from Windows to a Mac was insane. I didn't let go of Windows. I didn't want to introduce myself to a Mac, even though I knew all the benefits that I can gain from just switching from Windows to a Mac. I mean, I knew personally. I knew the what is it called, the benefits that I was going to get. And I still, even though knowing, I still didn't do the switch. I still was a little hothead or a little stubborn about making the switch, so I stuck to the suited up Windows. And not only that, I never left the 8 gig RAM world until like I actually started making money with music. I don't know, I was stubborn, I guess. It was a different me. It was a different me in the same cocoon, so in the same body. So it took me a while. So I know what that is, you know what I mean? But trust me, guys, if investing in your craft, it's big. You don't need the most expensive stuff out there. You don't need the most high tech stuff. You just need to learn real good how to use stuff. And when you master to know how to use a board, to know how to use a keyboard, to know how to use a compressor, an EQ, a delay, you're going to be a beast. Take your time knowing and understanding what each do and what their job is and how it works, how it functions mechanically, and 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 uh, and you'll be surprised how much stuff you'll come out in creativity. You'll, off the top of your head, if you hear a rhythm and you say, "Hey, that rhythm, that melody can use this or that," you spot it on it, and you're automatically already on the move to, because you know what can you put in there. You're already imagining yourself, "Oh, this will sound dope if I add that. Let me try that." So it makes your workflow faster and more efficient and more creative, more fun. So what I mean? Learn how to use the stuff that you got. You know what I mean? Before making a big investment. That's my opinion. That's my advice to all those that are starting. Because I was stuck around people that was always buying expensive gear and thinking that was it. And no, at the end of the day, these people didn't even learn how to take their time and learning how to use that expensive gear. So where that expensive gear ended up in the same box that it came with, 2 years later, being sold for like a fraction of the price just because it was collecting dust, and he felt like it was already taking room and he was losing on his investment. And it's all because he didn't really needed that. He already had enough of what he was using, and he did not needed that. And if he did, he would have learned, take his time and learn. You know what I'm saying? So wasted 4 or 5 grand out of nothing and ended up selling it for like 800, $900. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's ridiculous. All you need is a laptop. If you got a laptop, get you a software and your keyboard, and you're good to go. A microphone and headphones. I mean, it's under $1,000, really, guys. I mean, you can get you a used MacBook for about $200-300, a decent one. You know what I mean? So
Flowbox,
yeah,
en mi
rock and roll.
flowbox, puede que me role uno, puede que me role dos. En mi flowbox, en mi flowbox, donde elaboramos sean joints, sean blunts. En mi flowbox, protocolo, el ron con verde no hablo con picoro, no. El lolo con el lolo, melodías Apolo, la O, desarrollo, just. Cachi la semilla, grande la de hermano, se me olvida. Va bajadas y subidas, así las activa. De lo contrario indica, a ver si no se me olvida. Tuve problemas sobre el role de la ganja. Es un problema que sé que muchos se lo callan. Pero otoño el viento hojas se llevaba. Y el pinche Frankie con flowbox. En mi flowbox, puede que me role uno, puede que me role dos. En mi flowbox, en mi flowbox, en mi flowbox, en mi flowbox, puede que en mi flowbox.
That's that little. It's still silent. It's still a little loud
Mi
in the front of there, right?
flowbox, mi flowbox.
Jesus. And then little things like that. If you don't take care of those will pop out like crazy in your mix once you start processing. It's
En mi flowbox, en mi
it's a headache.
flowbox, puede.
So automatically I found out which one was just a little too loud. So obviously we're gonna bring that down. Um, I was gonna say something. I forgot here. Oh, okay. So I don't want to. I don't want to delete it because it sounds good stacked up since the artist had three layers on the vocals. There are three stacks, so it emphasizes the residue of that, the tail of the last syllable. But what we're gonna do is definitely we're gonna cut it and definitely lower it down so everything can blend in. And these are the things that make a big difference, guys. You see that here? These little edits, I know they're time consuming, but this is what gets you the job. This is what gets you
En
paid.
mi
You don't
flowbox,
have
en mi
patience for all this
flowbox,
crap. You see
en mi
that? Automatically
flowbox,
got rid of
en mi
that.
flowbox.
You see how smooth that is? So if
En
if
mi flow, en mi
if I delete
flowbox,
this here, they're gonna sound different. You saw that? You saw how
en
different
mi
that sounded?
flowbox, en mi
You guys see
flowbox.
that? See, it sounds more into interesting.
Flowbox,
We're gonna put poly rate as well as this word here box. We're gonna we're gonna lower it down,
flowbox, en mi flowbox,
and it's very subtle. I mean,
flowbox,
you don't
en
want
mi
to do too much
flowbox.
because you get
Puede
rid of
que
the
me
mess in the vocal.
en mi flowbox, en mi flowbox.
Again, too high.
Box, puede box, mi flowbox. Puede role dos, puede que me role uno, puede que me role dos. En mi flowbox, en mi flowbox, donde box, en mi flowbox, donde elaboramos sean joints, sean blunts. En mi flowbox, en mi flowbox, me siento en confianza tirando el roll con flow. En mi flowbox, en mi flowbox, tengo el producto, pump y paso para la bomb. En Flowbox ahora rolo el proto, mi role dos. En mi Flowbox, en mi Flowbox, donde elaboramos sean joints, sean blunts. En mi Flowbox, en mi Flowbox, me siento en confianza tirando el rock con flow. En mi Flowbox, en mi Flowbox, tengo el producto, pump y paso para la bomb. En mi Flowbox, en mi Flowbox, en mi Flowbox, puede que me role uno, puede que me role dos. En mi Flowbox, donde elaboramos sean joints, sean blunts. En mi Flowbox, me siento en confianza tirando el rock con flow. En mi Flowbox, tengo el producto, pump y paso para la bomb. En Flowbox ahora Roblox, en mi Flowbox, donde elaboramos sean joints, sean blunts. En mi Flowbox, me siento en confianza.
Got a little height, little height in the word right there. So this is what I do before I process everything. I look for. So I help a little bit of the computer. I help it out. So my compressor and my de-esser are working together in order to keep everything leveled and at the same time make sure all the S's and the pops and stuff like that get de-essed. I usually have it at a certain threshold. that I like using when it comes to various specific vocals. In this case, they're rap vocals. So I tend to have a precise preset that I have of my own that I to go to preset on the compressor and de-esser when I'm cleaning these vocals. So I propose pre-post that, and while I'm doing all these little cuts and edits. So when I get to the real processing, or when I get to the processing those vocals, I don't get mashes and little distortion pops or clicks and stuff, because those little things tend to give me that at the end of my mix or when I'm processing. So before all that, I like to do all this in order for me, you know what I mean, to get a little bit of that. I'm sorry, I had the interface turned up the wrong way. Sorry for that. These guys didn't quite hear me well. So like I was saying, I like to do those little things in order for me to get precise noises out the way, and save some time as well.
Cachi en la semilla, grande la de hermano, se me olvida. Pa' bajadas hay subidas, así las activa. De lo contrario indica, a ver si no se me olvida. Tuve problemas sobre el role de la ganja. Es un problema que sé que muchos se lo callan. Pero otoño el viento hojas se llevaba. Y el pinche Frankie con carta abajo de la manga.
This word right here. Actually, these two of those, both of those words are a little too loud. I get not necessarily too loud. It can go down a couple decibels and it sound better. You see how that flowed into the next. So I like that smooth transition right there.
Mi amigo, forjando pergamino, rolando con estilo. Yo soy el creador mismo, madera extra. Puede que me roleo.
And then once I have a certain part of the track of the certain part of the vocals already kind of gain stage, I tend to reference it back to that part of the song, the rest of it. So once I have a gain stage set on a portion of a song, for instance, on this one it was the hook, the chorus. I gain stage that first. All the elements on the chorus are gain stage, so they sound close to smooth and close to at the same level. So once I do that, I proceed to the verse, and the first verse or the first parts of the verse, and then the second verses. I reference the gain stage and the volumes of those. So you see So I go back and forth. You'll see me clicking on the chorus. You'll see me clicking on different parts of the verses. So I do that. I tend to do that because I that's how I get my levels. That's how I tell the difference. What part is too loud and what part needs more volume, or vice versa. So I guide myself to the part that I already had gain stage on my track, and that allows me to save time. And not only that, to be more accurate, right? You don't want your verses to be louder than your hooks. Or your hooks, for the most part on tracks, on a lot of tracks, the loudest part of the track is your hook or the chorus. It's the loudest part, and the opposite of that, the quietest part of your track would be a bridge or an intro. It'll be, for most part, it'll be the parts that are lower on the track. So just a little pointer there. But you see that I for those that are asking why do I go back and forth, is for that. I'm referencing the volume, and I'm trying to before I move on, that's the last step that I want to do, and then I move on to the next and clean the next part. So that's another point That little word is tricky because it doesn't look like it's too loud, but it is. It has a lot of power. Yeah, now it's smooth, especially there because the transition from one part to the other of the track. I'm sorry, take that back. One part of the verse to the other because he did this in takes. The artist did this in various parts in takes, as you can see. The first verse is like in 6 parts.
De lo contrario indica a ver si no se me olvida. Tuve problemas sobre el role de la ganja. Es un problema que sé que muchos se lo callan. Pero otoño el viento hojas se llevaba y el pinche Frankie con carta abajo de la manga. Flowbox mi amigo, forjando pelea, Grander la hermana de la ganja. Es un problema que sé
Right
que
there on
muchos se lo
Flowbox, me amigo.
callan. Pero otoño el viento hojas se llevaba y el pinche Frankie con carta abajo de la manga. Flowbox mi amigo. Flowbox.
And sometimes it's not even the whole word. It's just like part of the word, part of the like the beginning of the syllable of the word, or the first or the last part. It's too loud, or how it came out. It's sometimes it be like that. So and then this word has 2 parts: flow and then and then flow, and then flow. So it if I don't cut it like that, like how I did it, I will lose presence in one in the beginning of it because if I'm lowering down the whole thing and this doesn't lean,
Flowbox mi amigo. Flowbox mi amigo.
this clip does. Come on now, man. Just this is a thing. This is a thing that I learned from the big fellas. You want to be able to do this as much as you can. Why? Because it helps you a lot. It gives you a clean slate. It saves, not only that it's saving you time, but it's giving you more room, more headroom in order to boost that up, in order to process these vocals. You know what I'm saying? Like getting the best out of it. And if this is not done correctly, or if you don't take time doing this, then you're most likely gonna pop. You're most likely gonna get distorted vocals after you process. So the more they told me, the more you do this, the less it's gonna take you to make it sound better or good or where you want it to be. So it's a good thing. It's a good. And I don't know, but to some people, maybe that's a lot of work. It's too much work. Nah. I mean, I don't even look at it like that no more. I mean, I just go in there and like, oh, okay, I need to do this. Let me do this real quick. I mean, I've been doing this for what, 35 minutes now. I'm already done with the first verse. Part that I've been talking shit and taking my time, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not even that much. I mean, it's simple. You're just lowering it down. You're listening to the vocal. You're praying. You're playing it back a couple of times, and that's it. You move on to the next. The main thing that I look for. The main thing that I look for is for breaths. And obviously loud words that pop out, S's and stuff like that. And dude, it sounds so 10 times better after you process everything. Like you have the cleanest vocals, and you can tell. I mean, a lot of the listeners are not going to be able to tell, obviously, but in a producer's or an engineer perspective, they're gonna know. They're gonna know how clean those motherfucking vocals are, and they're gonna be like, what those things got processed with, or how these things got clean. dude, it's gonna be
madera extraída
nuts.
del pino de los islos. En mi flowbox.
Okay, so I'm pretty much done in what 37 minutes. The first verse. Come on now. Yes, I have a lot more to do, but I mean that's just to give you an idea of how much you can do in half an hour. See now that I got the verse, the main vocals of the verse, now I move to the ad-libs now. But I might not even do that yet because I got another verse. So it's as easy as that, man. Come on,
En
man.
mi flowbox. Solo la O desarrollo.
Actually, no. Let's go.
En
Let's move down
Flowbox
to the
ahora
ad-libs, man.
rolo el
This is the
protocolo,
second
error con verde no
layer that
hablo
he had.
Gohan Picoro, no. En
Let's
Lolo
listen.
con el YOLO, melodías Apolo, la O, desarrollo just. Cachín la semilla, grinder la hermano, se me olvida. Pa' bajadas hay subidas, así la sativa. De lo contrario indica, a ver si no se me olvida. Tuve problemas sobre el role de la ganja. Es un problema que sé que muchos se lo callan. No era otoño, el viento hojas se llevaba. Y el pinche Frankie con carta abajo de la manga. Flowbox, mi amigo, forjando pergaminos, rolando con estilo. Yo soy el creador mismo, madera extraída del pino de los islos. Wow. En Flowbox ahora rolo el protocolo, el rol con verde no hablo Gohan Picoro, no. En Low con el YOLO, melodías Apolo, la O, desarrollo just. Cachín la semilla, grinder la hermano, se me olvida. Pa' bajadas hay subidas, así la sativa. De lo contrario indica, a ver si no se me olvida. Tuve problemas sobre el role de la ganja. Es un problema que sé que muchos se lo callan. No era otoño, el viento, hojas. Wow. En Flowbox ahora rolo el protocolo, el rol con verde no hablo Gohan Picoro, no. En Low con el YOLO, melodías Apolo, la O, desarrollo just. Cachín la semilla, grinder la hermano, se me olvida. Pa' bajadas hay subidas, así la sativa. De lo contrario indica, a ver si no se me olvida. Tuve problemas sobre el role. No, desarrollo just. Cachín la semilla, grinder la hermano, se me olvida. Pa' bajadas hay subidas, así la sativa. De lo contrario indica, Apolo, la O, desarrollo. Wow. En Flowbox ahora rolo el protocolo, el rol con verde no hablo Gohan Picoro, no. Wow.
So these vocals are mellow, but obviously there's some parts where the artist went a little crazy. So I just bring it down. Ain't no biggie. You can see I don't even have to play back. I don't even have to play it back. You can
Picoro,
see where you
no.
can
En
calculate.
Low con el YOLO, melodía.
Come on now, man. I've been doing this for 10 years now. This is I do this
En
with
Low
my
con el
eyes
YOLO,
closed.
melodías Apolo, la O, desarrollo.
Okay, so again, you can see if you pay attention to the waveforms of the
Con el
vocals, you
YOLO,
can see where
melodías
you need to
Apolo, la O,
raise or
desarrollo.
lower down
Con
the
el
volume.
YOLO, melodías Apolo, la
You see that you hear that click, and you see what it was right here. It's right here. Usually, I eliminate those. I
Apolo,
don't like
la
those, but in
O,
this case,
Apolo,
it doesn't really matter.
Apolo, Apolo, la
Got rid of it. Come on now,
Apolo,
man.
la O, desarrollo just. Apolo, la O,
Okay, so
desarrollo
there's a little
just.
pop here.
Cachín la semilla. Apolo, la O,
Excuse me.
desarrollo
It's not a pop.
just.
It's a T.
Cachín la semilla.
It's a ad lib. It doesn't really matter, but
Rollo
I'm not gonna take it
jazz.
off.
Cacho en la
It's gonna have
semilla,
presence. So
grande la hermano, se me olvida. Pa' bajadas hay subidas, así la sativa. De lo contrario indica, a ver si no se me olvida. Tuve problemas sobre el role de la ganja. Es un problema que sé que muchos se lo callan. No era otoño, el viento hojas se llevaba. Y el pinche Frankie con carta abajo de la manga. Un problema que sé que muchos un problema que sé que muchos se lo callan. No era otoño, el viento hojas se llevaba y un problema que sé que muchos se lo callan. No era otoño, el viento hojas se llevaba y el pinche Frankie con carta abajo de la el viento hojas se llevaba y el pinche Frankie con carta abajo de la manga. Flowbox, mi amigo, forjando pergaminos, rolando con estilo. Yo soy el creador mismo, madera extraída del pino de los islos. Soy el creador mismo, madera extraída del pino de los islos. El pino de los islos. El pino.
clean. Now let's hear that back.
Wow. En Flowbox ahora rolo, el protocolo, el rol con verde no hablo Gohan Picoro, no. En low con el YOLO, melodías Apolo, la O, desarrollo just. Cachín la semilla, grinder la hermano, se me olvida. Pa' bajadas hay subidas, así la sativa. De lo contrario indica, a ver si no se me olvida. Tuve problemas sobre el role de la ganja. Es un problema que sé que muchos se lo callan. No era otoño, el viento hojas se llevaba. Y el pinche Frankie con carta abajo de la manga. Flowbox, mi amigo, forjando pergaminos, rolando con estilo. El pinche Frankie con carta abajo de la manga. Flowbox, mi amigo, forjando pergamino, rolando. El pinche Frankie con carta abajo de la manga. Oh, en Flowbox ahora rolo el protocolo. El rol con verde no hablo Gohan Picoro, no. En Lolo con el YOLO, melodías Apolo, la O, desarrollo just. Catch en la semilla, grande la de hermano, se me olvida. Pa' bajadas hay subidas, así las activa. De lo contrario indica, a ver si no se me olvida. Tuve problemas sobre el role de la ganja. Es un problema que sé que muchos se lo callan. Pero otoño el viento hojas se llevaba. Y el pinche Frankie con carta abajo de la manga. Flowbox mi amigo, forjando pergamino, rolando con estilo. Yo soy el creador mismo, madera extraída del pino de los islos. Yo soy el creador mismo. Yo soy el creador mismo. Creador mismo. Yo soy el creador mismo, madera extraída del pino de los islos. En mi flowbox, en mi flowbox. Yo soy el wow. En Flowbox ahora rolo el protocolo. El rol con verde no hablo Gohan Picoro, no. En Lolo con el YOLO, melodías Apolo, la O, desarrollo. Oh, en Flow. Rolo, colo, no. Wow. Rolo, colo.
So these are ad libs. These are ad libs. So obviously we delete these spaces in between here because again, when these vocals will get processed later, these things will pop like crazy. These little spaces here, all this no, you don't want to careful. You don't want to cut out the breaths. The breaths, the breaths are good. You don't want to cut out the breath. Those are breaths right there. You want to cut off that fire. Obviously, this is too loud. Lower that down.
Rolo, colo, no. Whoa, no. YOLO, YOLO, Roy, YOLO, YOLO, rollo, milla, se me olvida, se me olvida, se, la sativa, la sativa, se me olvida, se me, se me olvida, se me olvida, de la, se me olvida, de la ganja, se lo callan, se llevaba de la manga, Flowbox mi amigo, rolando con estilo, yo, madera extraída del pino de los islos, se llevaba de la manga, Flowbox mi amigo,
You see that little pop right there? That when the vocals get processed, boy, that will crack up your whole mix, and you'll be like wondering, what the fuck is that? Trust me, it happened to me so many times without knowing what the hell was that noise and those little things. That's why you gotta take your time and listening. I have the beat on mute, and this is the only thing that's solo right now because it's needed. I need to listen to the vocal recording clearly in order to clean it up and know where these first of all to know where these uh uh little annoying pops are and to fix them. Also, too, you notice I haven't touched no breaths on these. The breaths are very little, which they would help back up the other breaths of the main vocal. So that's why I'm not touching them. If I see that they're too loud, maybe. See, maybe that one, maybe. But I don't delete their presence on the vocal. It sounds so natural when it has a breath. You just want to enhance the vocal by you know controlling those breaths. I heard a P that was too loud here. I found that little crack. You see that right here? That little thing right there. That little thing right there is so annoying, man. And then might as well since that's already trimmed.
Dale que mole yo la copita.
En mi flowbox, puede que me role uno, puede que me role dos. En mi flowbox, donde elaboramos sean joints, sean blunts. En mi flowbox, me siento en confianza tirando el rock and flow. En mi flowbox, tengo el producto, pump y paso pa' la bomb. Oh, en flowbox ahora rolo el protocolo, el rock